Free beer and hot wings in the morning. Grand Rapids rocks all day. 97.9 GRD rocks.
97.9 GRD rocks. The Free Beer and Hot Wings Show. Mostly cloudy, breezy, more seasonable today. 37 the high. It's 21 right now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time to go to school. Your mom and dad
From the Kids
won't
album.
let you be a fool.
Probably won't see this performed tonight at 20 Monroe.
Wake up. It's fun to
Long time no see. Brian Vander Ark of the Verve Pipe. Hi, Brian.
Hello. Nice
How
to
are
be
you?
back here. I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, because you have...
that wouldn't have been my choice of music to play as an introduction, but it's
No.
before you got in. Oops, sorry, Joe.
We discussed it before you got in for a reason.
Yes.
By the way, you can grab that lever right there if you want to. If you'd be more comfortable being down a little other side.
Other side. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're a little high in the air.
Need some help?
Yeah, it's
I'm glad.
welcome to this studio.
New studio, old chairs.
Now, did you guys buy this chair?
No, we
That's
are
a leftover.
not responsible for the chairs.
No. At one point, it was. See, look at that.
You look
Yeah.
so much more comfortable than
now
a minute
I'm
ago.
lower than you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want us to drop down a little?
Yeah,
like
okay,
that.
we'll go down too.
Don't go. No, don't.
Well,
I can't. This one
This
is
makes for
broken,
great
too.
radio, by
They're
the
all
way.
broken.
normally I wouldn't have suggested
No,
it.
this
but
is our radio.
How'd you guys get syndicated? Well, we do 20 minutes of chair talk every day.
Yeah, we just talk about whatever is in front of us.
what
kind
makes
of
you
true.
comfortable?
Yeah. So tonight, the Verve Pipe headlining, obviously, at 20 Monroe Live, a beautiful venue.
Excited.
Yeah.
Papa Vegas will be there with you, and you're playing villains top to bottom.
Top to bottom, and then some other, some of the other tunes as well. But these villain shows have been, everybody's doing them now. The 20th anniversary shows from the 90s bands, and they sell out everywhere. It's great.
It's great.
terrific.
It is.
Terrific,
It's fantastic. And so it hasn't been played like that from first song to the last song on the album.
Right.
In Grand
No.
Rapids.
No,
Is it literally
never.
2 decades since you've done it here?
Yes. In fact, I think the first time we once put it at the intersection years, the old intersection years ago, we did it when the album first came out, which we would never dare to do,
Right.
now. To
Right.
do an album start to finish.
Right.
Like nobody knows the songs.
No, it's
As
When
a
you-
musician, as
No,
a
no,
musician,
go.
do you lament the fact that, I assume when you put together an album, you had that was part of your thinking as you were going along in your career, this is the correct, the flow that feels best to
The
you as an
sequence,
artist?
yes.
Does that, do you lament the loss of that now?
Absolutely. Well,
I mean, you
love
still do it when you put an album out.
Sure we do. Sure
But-
we do. But nobody really, the majority of people don't listen to an album start
Yeah.
to finish now. They buy individual songs,
Yeah.
And, we still have to do it. You're still, you like to fancy yourself as an artist, and you're still trying to create something that you hope people will sit in a beanbag chair and listen to
Yeah.
start
Right.
to finish,
the
like we
experience
used
we
to.
had.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we have a turntable at home, and our kids will do that, but it is you realize what a pain it was. I mean, you had to get up halfway through and turn the album over and that kind of thing.
Right.
I know.
But it
Who
was
likes
still-
walking feet away?
Yeah. But the fact is it's an experience now, because when you listen to a turntable or it was all about the artwork, and you'd listen, and back then when I was a kid, you didn't even know what the artists look like unless there
No.
was photos in the album.
Right.
You would
Yeah.
see what
Yeah.
they
The
looked
one
like
on the
because no
back,
TV.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty common that
Yeah.
there wasn't a photo.
Yeah.
Now that is a bummer, but I don't know about you, but nowadays I think, well, that's good. I can buy just this and this and this if I want.
Yeah.
Not that I don't buy full albums if I want them, but boy, was I burned so many times
Sure,
by
absolutely.
Tower Records especially. $27 for this. Cool. These 8 songs will all be great.
Right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The problem is too is that when this first started happening, when people started buying the 99-cent songs or whatever, I was thinking at that time, well, this is the industry's way of getting us back for putting filler, for artists putting filler on records. Like, a lot of times you buy an album. I remember when I was a kid, you bought an album, and there's 2 good songs on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Crappy songs.
Right.
But, I was overthinking it, of course, but we always,
Sure.
we always try to put, quality songs in there. I mean,
Of course.
Sure.
It's about building a catalog, and that's why we've been together for so long.
Yeah.
So,
Well, people are looking forward to it tonight at 20 Monroe. I know we've been hearing a lot about it. as well. Now, Villains, the live and acoustic album, also just came out, which is another sort of twist on the whole thing.
Well, we decided to do that show. We did it in Ann Arbor at the Ark. Great place.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, very
so
cool.
good.
Love that place. A sold out audience, and we played the album start to finish, but on different kind of instruments, different acoustic instruments and violin player and that kind of thing. And we did it for fun. And it's our only live album we've ever put out. And so far the reaction's been awesome.
It's pretty fantastic. Now, you brought your guitar. You're going to play something for us today.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to play a brand new song. It's 12 minutes long. I hope that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, of course it is.
And this is your typical upbeat novelty song, right? Okay. All right. Okay, good. All right.
You optioned this to Weird Al,
Okay,
I know.
yeah,
You told
okay.
us that.
This is the freshman, and
another 150 beats a minute type of deal here.
then we'll smoothly transition into a cover of Brick.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't remember where I read it, and otherwise I would have gone back and reread it this morning.
Yeah.
But you talked about you were interviewed by someone a while ago, long form, and I remember reading in it. And even though I don't know anything about the recording industry, but even the little bit of surface I did know, this went way deeper than that. When you talked about your transition from Villains to your second album, and then your third album when it came out, the way you sort of wasted your capital, so to speak, on the second album. I'm putting words in your mouth because I don't remember the exact phrase.
Your words are correct.
And then your third album came out on September 11th.
Yes.
Or the week
weird.
of September 11th.
Yeah.
Just had a tremendous amount of there were a lot worse tragedies that happened.
Sure. But it was really
September
fascinating.
11th, but
right. It was
other than our album
fascinating
not selling.
to read about how that, how you went from me seeing you with Tonic and Kay's Choice in Omaha and massive crowd and everybody waiting to hear Not an Addict. If you could only see, and the Freshman.
It was a great bill.
It was. It was one of the. It's one of. It remains one of the best shows I've ever been to. And then fast forward to, because everybody always says, "Well, that band, where did they go?" Well, you didn't go anywhere, but everything doesn't always work out your way.
People still ask me, "What happened to you guys?"
What is
Still put out records, and I'm standing right here at D&W right now.
Yeah.
Because they don't mean it.
Diapers.
They don't mean it in a bad way.
No, of course they don't. People don't know.
Was there a time where you took it the wrong way?
Sure, of course.
As
Absolutely.
long as we've known you, you've been super laid back and.
Well, no, I was fairly uptight right after Villains came out. You're pulled in so many different directions. When the album sold 3 million copies, so we were quite famous at that time.
Yeah,
and you're pulled in many directions. We let it go to our heads enough where we shut everybody out. We didn't want to talk to anybody. We didn't want to beat. We didn't want to do radio. We didn't want to do anything.
Right.
And then, we go and we go to New York and we record for what should be a 3-month process. It turns into a 9-month process because we're taking our time. We're getting creative, taking in the energy of the city.
Spending a lot of money.
That's right. $1.2 million we ended up spending on the follow-up record with expectations that at least 10% of the people that bought the last record would buy this.
Yeah.
And instead of 150,000 people buying it, 7,000 people bought that record. That second rate was terrible. It was like a huge slap in the face, which, we have to go, well, perhaps we became so disconnected with people. We didn't do the promotion we should have done because we were too big for that.
Right.
Maybe you think that now, but at the time I would have gone and strangled every, those 143,000 people.
Oh, yeah. I would
have gone door to door.
This is my life!
When that 1.2 million, that's not that's not a gift. Like you're expected to pay that. See, I always thought when you get a record deal, well, they pay all the upfront costs and then you share the profits.
Yeah, you go buy a mansion. And
it's a
cars.
loan, right?
No, it's a loan. Well, essentially, you have to pay them back through album sales.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. So we didn't sell any albums, so we didn't owe them that money.
Sure.
But that meant that the chances of us making another record with them were slim.
Right.
However, they did allow us to make another record, which was our album called Underneath.
Yeah.
Which happened to be released 9/11.
Yeah.
So it was the omen. We just had a bad omen. It was like but then you take some time off, and then we made a couple kids records for fun, and then now we're making rock records again.
Yeah, it's
because
fantastic.
what else are we gonna do?
Parachute is on the way. When does Parachute come out?
The 17th.
The 17th.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
very,
Actually,
very
it'll be we'll have it available tonight.
have it tonight.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
fantastic.
I don't know if we ever talked about it, but you were doing like shows in people, like living room shows.
Sure, I
You were
still
doing
do.
that
You still
for.
do those, right?
You
Oh,
still
yeah.
do those?
Done
Okay.
over 600 of those in 10 years. I'm in my 11th year of doing that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did we ever ask you, has anything creepy ever happened?
You know,
Well, someone's had
there
you
was,
trapped.
Yeah.
There was a woman who said there was going to be 50 people there, and it was just her
Literally her?
in a wedding dress.
Oh, my God! A wedding dress made of
I
skin?
just got creeped out so bad.
That's my fear.
Whatever happened in the rest of that
That's never
story, I
happened.
was going to believe it all.
Yeah.
No, it didn't happen.
Did you see us? We all went,
It's
Yeah.
How'd you
always
get out?
it's always you don't know what's behind the door because you go back and forth through email. You never even talk to the people. But the oddest ones end up being the best. Like I went to a guy's house in Texas, in Possum Kingdom Lake of all places, right, in Texas, beautiful lake. And I go there, I didn't know what to expect, and I show up, and he goes, "Yeah, we're going to go out on the speedboat." And we 5 of us went out on his speedboat in the middle of the lake, and we played. I thought, this is ridiculous that I'm doing this, and yet this guy now is one of my best friends. He's like
No
the
kidding.
greatest guy.
That's
Love
That is wild.
That's awesome.
Hilarious.
these
That
are the
is
kind of
funny.
things that happen. But it's like if it was the same thing every night, it'd be so boring.
Oh, of course.
So,
Yeah.
it's
There's
nice
a comedian named Tig Notaro.
I know
if you've ever
Tig,
heard-
yeah. Sure, of course.
She did a tour in people's homes, and
Oh, yeah.
a friend was a documentarian, and they did
what's
the
that
document.
called? I think I've seen that.
Knock Knock Who's There, I think is what it's called. It's on Netflix.
All right.
And it ended up being fascinating, and it's very similar to what you described. Like at first, the same sort of trepidation,
Yeah.
and to see the artist be extraordinarily nervous when they are like you are when you walk in. You're obviously the star of the show. They hired you. It's a dream come true for people.
It's
but it's still
it's
odd.
true. It's true. And people save up for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's the expectation.
Yeah.
They're not paying $15 for a ticket. They're
Yeah.
paying you a lot of money to come into their home.
Right.
Sure.
So there's a tremendous amount of pressure to
Right.
be on for
Yeah.
2 hours. I go in, I play a show for an hour, and then hang out for an hour. But I have to be on. It's seriously. I'm like
yeah.
a politician when I walk in there. I have
Sure.
to kiss babies.
Yeah, you can't have a bad day.
I can't have a bad day. They've saved up for this.
Right.
We've
And
been there,
sometimes
yeah.
I'll do.
We know.
Sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 a day because I can go from one to the next because there's no PA system or anything.
Right.
And by the end of it, 5 shows on a weekend. It's ridiculous. The
Yeah.
money's
Yeah.
great, and it's saved my career. But honestly, I'm exhausted.
That
I
is
think you discussed it in
tiring.
that same article. Where did that idea? Was that discussed with another artist where they had said, "Hey, you can always make it if you do the like somebody laid out a model for you"? Am I remembering any of that right?
I mean, I made my own way.
You created it.
Figuring out how to do it. We didn't know. Nobody was really doing house concerts. So I just said, hey, look, you have a party. Like how it first happened was a fan wrote me and said, hey, I want you to play my birthday party. And I'm like, I'm kind of a rock star. And I'm like,
right.
Right.
and he's like, I pay you $2,500. I'm like, of course I'll come play your birthday party.
Yeah,
Why would
okay,
pay
I
your
would love
birthday
to.
party?
Can you have 2 birthdays a year? Because that'd
Yeah,
be great.
that's right. But the thing is, on the way home, I remember I'm driving on the way home, and I had a check for like $2,500 in my pocket, and then cash of like $500 from merchandise sales. And I'm like, I got 4,000 people on my mailing list. All of them have a birthday that's $10 million.
Yes!
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, the Verve Pipe will be playing tonight at 20 Monroe Live, playing villains from top to bottom, and then also some other stuff. When you do that, will you stop and do sort of a behind the music on a lot of it?
No, we do that for the acoustic shows.
Okay.
The electric shows, we really like to run them because the album has segues, and so we go one song into the next usually.
Okay,
and
makes
say
sense.
hello and that kind of thing. But
Sure.
the acoustic shows, like we did with the live acoustic album, a lot of storytelling,
Which is great.
and behind the music.
Well, you promised a new 12-minute song. I assume
Yeah.
it's a waltz like
Yes.
Edmund Fitzgerald. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's no actual chorus, but
I thought I would play Photograph, which
Love
is
it.
a song that did pretty well for us. And if you want beautiful, pitiful, have me in a picture. And if you want, make me dance, throw me around, I'll spin upon your finger. Blind labors the blind, and I am unwilling to uncover my eyes. And if you want, take your time, rifle through, find a very nice one. If there's a crease in my face over time, there's plenty more where that came from. Words frozen will thaw when I am. When I'm wasted, I am better shut up. And a frame is quite confining. Come on and hang me up. Come on and hang me up. I'm in the photograph. I'm in the photograph. I'm in the photograph. Yeah. Well, picture this. If I'm alone and the world is a fist, well, I am weightless. A universe gravitate, orchestrate. Well, I am feeling, and spinning the sky surrounding. Well, I'm free from all the picture perfect. And spinning the sky surrounding. I am larger than life. Oh, but meanwhile, I'm in a photograph. I'm in that photograph. I'm in a photograph. Yeah. La, 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 la. La, 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 la,
Vander Ark.
Yeah.
Photograph tonight. Again, Parachute and Villains live at Acoustic. Both those albums will be available for the first time tonight at 20 Monroe Live. This is a very cheesy radio transition, but that said, going to happen anyway. Is there a photograph you look back on during the whole thing that is, with time passing by and everything else, that is surreal to the point where you're like, I can't believe that was me and my pals? Or a moment, not necessarily an actual photograph.
I would say every time I go online and somebody, posts something on Facebook or whatever and tags us in it of the Freshman performed on David Letterman, that screenshot is the absolute worst. It looks like
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
it looks like I'm wearing a wig.
Okay.
I had a huge puffball hair thing going on there.
Okay.
And I had eye makeup on. And I was wearing an outfit that was recommended by our stylist. That to me, that is so foreign to me now. I have no idea who that guy is.
That's not you.
That's not me.
That's wild. That would be really weird to see.
That's not-
Does it take away the joy of the fact that you performed a song, a hit song on Letterman?
The joy,
I hope not.
the joy of that performance is in talking about it
Yeah.
now. But in talking about it now, it's always tainted by the bad hair.
Wow.
That is a
That is-
boy,
that's
we were
great.
just talking about that earlier.
We can all relate to that moment where you're like, okay, that should be positive, but I remember the dumb thing I did or whatever.
Yeah, I'm still,
It's
yeah,
just
absolutely.
ours,
yeah.
Always.
I
Did you
remember
ever
my
wear
feet hurt.
parachute pants or anything when you were?
It was not cool enough. I regret that I didn't. I don't have that to look
Who
back
had a
on.
mullet here in the
Oh,
room?
boy,
Come
did
on,
I.
Yep,
How
right
did
there.
that
Oh, yeah,
ruined it. Had to
yeah. We
ruin
made it
Picture
way too long in our lives, always tucking our shirts in.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. We got
Yeah.
somebody we pay to remind us
Yeah.
how stupid that was.
Hey, so where are you at on potentially going out with Jeff Daniels? You just did the album
yeah.
with him.
Well, I did. It was a great experience, and that ended up being an awesome album. I think. I mean, it's an Americana type folk album with great stories on it. He's busy, The
Yeah.
guy's in everything. He's in every movie.
He is.
He's like the new Gene Hackman or something. He's in everything.
Yeah.
And
And about the most humble man ever.
He is. He's very
You
very
would have
humble.
no idea that.
He's a terrific guy, a terrific singer-songwriter. People don't really realize that either. But besides being one of America's greatest actors, but he's so busy that it's hard to just get. It's just hard to get out.
Yeah.
When he wants to go out, he'll go out and play, and he'll bring a bunch of us along. And when he doesn't want to go out, he doesn't want to go out.
Yeah.
That's
The
a good way
difference
to
is
do
that
it.
he can afford to not go out.
Right. Yeah.
I have to go out.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about another, what I assume is a highlight, and it has to do with a talk show. It's the only clip of this show I've ever seen, and I wanted to know what you were thinking while you were on it. You sat across from a monster when you were on the Jenny McCarthy show. I saw this clip pop up.
Yeah.
Were you just sitting across from her going, why are we on this stupid
Who was the
idiot
monster?
show?
Are you saying Jenny McCarthy was the
Oh,
monster?
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
At the time, I don't know if she was a monster. She hadn't told us not to vaccinate her
But
children.
no, but she is who she is.
Right. That was one of the first TV appearances that we did, and that was recommended by RCA, of course, and the promotional people. The opportunity to actually sit with her was a nice experience. However, I will tell you this. I saw footage later of outtakes from that particular show, and she farted right before we came out, right on the very cushion that we sat on.
Oh, my God, that's disgusting.
That was kind of her thing. She was kind of just, and she
yeah.
did that, and then we walked in.
Yeah. She was the hot frat guy.
I actually almost made a joke about that. And I go, no, that is such a tired trope that Jenny
It's
McCarthy
not-
farts all the
it's
time.
true.
And that's
She did.
totally true.
No, that was her
She
thing.
did.
That was-
Take a look at
yeah.
it. That was her thing. And
That's
she did.
crazy. A playmate is farting and picking her nose. My God, this is hot.
As men, we're crazy.
I know. That is
right?
insane.
Brian Vander Ark is here. You hear about lead singer syndrome. And you said
Which
after
one?
Just the general.
Yeah, all of you.
Do you have a moment that you look back at, like you were talking about when you were on Letterman, that sort of out of body experience?
Yeah.
Your most diva moment?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. I got stuck in we almost canceled a huge show. It was a huge show. I think it was in Portland or somewhere. But, we probably sold, it was theater, so probably sold a couple thousand tickets. And because they changed the airplane, we usually flew coach, however.
Yeah.
But because they changed the airplane or whatever, my window seat turned into a center seat, and I refused to get on the plane. So we would have canceled the entire show.
That is so.
And I had to come to Jesus with my manager about it, And I'm, you guys can't even get this thing. And he's like, you have to put this in perspective. All right, you've got 2,000 people that bought tickets. They all got babysitters. They're coming to see you.
Yeah.
Get on that freaking plane.
And then you hear that and go,
And,
oh, yeah.
No, that's right. I forgot.
Go back in time and then tell yourself this while you're learning guitar, dreaming of being a rock star, that you're not going to be one because you have a center seat.
But
You go to
right?
Yeah.
But that being said,
You either go to this show or you're going to someday be playing in people's homes.
right? Do you look at it though and say, how could it not have worked? I mean, I think almost anybody would fall into those same traps when you go from a great regional band that we all knew about at CMU and at Michigan State and everywhere else, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're on. I mean, how does anyone not do that?
It's funny because we grew up very, in very modest quarters. Our entire band. Everybody was pretty poor. We were, lower middle class. When I was a kid, and you would be shocked that the difference. Once you start riding in the limos, once you start, flying in the first class and the whole thing, how much your attitude changes within a 6-month period.
Really?
And for me to
Especially
look
at
back
that
and go,
age.
I can't believe that I would even think that.
Yeah.
Oh.
That I would even feel that way.
Yeah.
But there's something about it when you're surrounded by people that are patting you on the back and everything's great. We love you and everybody loves you and we're going to do this and doing this, and then you're doing all the TV shows. It's really difficult to keep that ego in check.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we deal with that with Joe.
Yeah, I was going to
the
say,
time,
we
yeah.
are far from rock stars, but when we go on a market visit, the second we step in a limo, I look out the window and I go, look at all these poor people.
Oh,
Yeah.
so do we have to drive
Look at all
by?
this trash.
And then they drop us off at a budgetel, and we go in.
Yeah, and, you go, and I go, so true. You go, I swear to God, I am not going to stay at this hotel if the light switches in the shower again.
Just
That
kidding.
happened once.
Yes, I will. I'll stay anyway.
I will, because I'm tired.
We're just happy to have 4
Fine.
rooms instead of 2.
Whatever. Yes, I sleep in a drawer.
Because I didn't ask you before we came on, I'll ask you on the air. Would you like to play another song?
Yeah, I'll play. I'll do the big one if you want. I'll do the freshman.
Okay. If you're okay with that, we're okay with that. That's for sure.
When I was young, I knew everything. She a punk who rarely ever took advice. Now I'm guilt-stricken, sobbing with my head on the floor. Stop a baby's breath and a shoe full of rice. No. Can't be held responsible, 'cause she was touching her face. I won't be held responsible. She fell in love in the first place. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we'd never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. My best friend took a week's vacation to forget her. His girl took a week's worth of Valium and slept, and now he's guilt-stricken, sobbing with his head on the floor. Thinks about her now, how he never really wept, he says. He can't be held responsible, 'cause she was touching her face. I won't be held responsible. She fell in love in the first place. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we'd never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. Hey, Aggie, 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 yeah. Hey, hey, Aggie, 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 Aggie. We tried to wash our hands of all of this. We never talk of our lack in relationships, how we're guilt-stricken, sobbing with our heads on the floor. We fell through the ice when we tried not to slip. We'd say, hey, we can't be held responsible, 'cause she was touching her face. I won't be held responsible, no. She fell in love in the first place. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we'd never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we'd never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. We were merely freshmen. We were only freshmen.
That song will never not get me. Brian Vander Ark.
Oh, it's fantastic, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. I want to talk to you for another hour.
I want to stay for an hour. This
Great.
never happens.
It's
on
agreed.
Radio, and I want to stay.
We
Is it
have
time?
a conference call in 3 minutes and 8 seconds that we can't. I actually
it'll
tried
be
to email and I realized
It'll be a
kicked back to us.
very exciting conference.
Will you come back again?
Absolutely.
We'd love
Thanks
it.
for
I want to
having
talk
me.
about
Love
your
the show.
autobiography.
I do too.
Great.
Yeah.
And
You're all
which
in
is-
it, by
which-
the way.
I figured. I figured we must each have a chapter.
The following people were of no significance to me.
Right.
It's just
yes,
four names.
Yes.
I knew it
These
was,
are people that I know I've met before.
A dark time in my life
Here's some faces.
I think.
when I was sitting in the studio.
Is that available?
Not yet.
Not
no.
yet.
Okay. Yeah,
When it
well,
comes
Like I
out,
said,
So
my
that-
wife just read it for the first time, and now I have to do another rewrite.
that would be
Oh, you have
really-
to take
that
out all
would
the
be
girls.
So now there's
Weirdly anxious,
Yeah.
Brian Vander Ark, go see the Verve Pipe tonight at 20 Monroe Live, playing villains, top to bottom, front to back, and then also some other stuff as well. Great to see you, man.
Always great to see you guys.
Great to see you.
Thanks
All
for
right,
having me.
more GRD stuff
Anytime.
next. It is the Free Beer and Outwick Show.
97.9